They will try to define you. They will try to put you in a box, name you, label you, classify you, reduce you to a single story. But the most dangerous thing in the world is not what they say about you. It's what you start to believe about yourself. Because the moment you start accepting the identity the world gave you is the moment you hand over the pen that was meant to write your destiny and let someone else write your obituary. But what if you stood still long enough to silence the noise? What if you burned the old script and picked up the pen again? What if you made one irreversible decision, not about your career, not about your income, not about your followers, but about who you are? Because everything changes the moment you decide who you are. And everything is built the moment you become it. Henry Ford wasn't born, Ford the industrial titan. He was a farm boy who saw machines in his dreams before they had names. Carnegie was a telegraph operator who dared to imagine a future with bridges and steel empires. They didn't wait for the world to give them permission. They decided. Then they became. And so must you. You see, identity isn't inherited. It's forged. One belief at a time. One decision at a time. One courageous act at a time. But the problem is, most people never decide. They drift. They conform. They spend their lives reacting instead of creating. They become a collage of other people's expectations. A patchwork of fears, trauma, trends, and temporary highs. They think identity is passive, as if who they are is a result of where they were born, what they experienced, or who raised them. But identity is not what happens to you. It's what you do with what happens to you. Napoleon Hill wrote, "Whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve." But first, you must decide to conceive something more. So ask yourself, who are you, really? Not the mask, not the role, not the title, but the fire beneath it all. The voice beneath the noise. The dream that keeps you awake long after the lights are out. Because the most powerful force in the universe is a human being who has decided who they are, and then refuses to live as anything less. Do you want to be a leader? Then lead. Do you want to be a creator? Then create. Do you want to be free? Then live like it. This world doesn't give you identity. It reflects back whatever you declare with enough certainty and consistency. Muhammad Ali said, "I am the greatest," long before anyone else believed it. He decided. And through brutal discipline, tireless vision, and unrelenting repetition, he became. But understand this, the decision is just the beginning. The moment you declare who you are, life will test it. The storms will come. The voices will scream. The failures will laugh in your face. Not because you're weak, but because identity must be proven in the fire. That's why most never finish what they start. They made a wish, not a decision. A true decision means no plan B. No retreat. No escape hatch. You burn the boats. You face the island. You conquer or you perish. It is better to suffer for becoming who you truly are, than to rot quietly in the prison of who you never became. So decide. Not later. Not someday. Now. Declare it to yourself in the mirror. Write it in blood on the walls of your soul. Not with arrogance, but with reverence, because you are taking full authorship of your life. And once that decision is made, the real work begins. Because identity is not just a name. It is a blueprint, and now, it must be built. Now that you've made the decision, you must protect it, because the world will do everything in its power to erode the foundation you've just laid. That's why mindset isn't just a self-help phrase, it is the architecture of everything. It is the iron skeleton beneath the skyscraper of your future. Without it, no amount of hustle, ambition, or talent can hold the weight of your becoming. Your mindset is not just how you think. It's how you interpret reality. Two people can face the same storm. One breaks, the other builds. One sees an obstacle, the other sees an opening. It's not luck. It's not fate. It's the lens they've trained themselves to look through. So ask yourself, what lens are you using? When life hits, and it will, do you default to fear or to fight? Do you interpret failure as a reason to quit, or a requirement for elevation? Every champion, every mogul, every leader who's ever moved the world forward, they all saw through a different lens. Their mindset was not built in comfort. It was carved in discomfort. Thomas Edison failed 10,000 times before the light bulb became reality. When asked if he felt like a failure, he simply said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That is mindset. A relentless internal refrain. Not delusion. Not denial. But a choice to find power where others find pain. Your thoughts are seeds. Plant despair, reap decay. Plant possibility, reap progress. But you can't just plant a single good thought once and expect a forest. You must replant, rewater, and reinforce, daily. That's what belief is, repeated thought, reinforced by experience and emotion. If you tell yourself you're a failure long enough, you will prove yourself right. But if you tell yourself you are a builder, a warrior, a creator of realities, and if you act in alignment with that belief, then the universe will conspire to make it true. This is not wishful thinking. This is physics. Energy responds to intention. Your body responds to command. Your life bends to the frequency of your expectations. So build your mindset like a fortress. Don't just protect it, fortify it. Read the books that expand you. Surround yourself with voices that challenge you. Speak words that breathe life, not decay. Every time you choose belief over doubt, you hammer one more nail into the identity you're constructing. But belief alone is not enough. You must see it. You must visualize it. Because clarity isn't a luxury. It's your internal compass in a fog-covered world. Close your eyes and ask, what does it look like when I've become who I've decided to be? Where are you standing? What do you feel in your chest? What is the rhythm of your breath when you know you're walking in alignment? This is the blueprint you must revisit again and again. Because the world will pull you in every direction. You must be anchored in your vision, or you will be drowned in distractions. Olympic athletes visualize every detail of their performance before they ever touch the stage. Not just the gold medal. The sweat, the strain, the silence before the start, the roar after the win. Because the brain doesn't distinguish between what's vividly imagined and what's real. That's the key. If you want to become it, you must see it first. Not vaguely, not someday. With detail, with power, with intention. Visualize your victory so clearly that reality has no choice but to catch up. But vision without purpose is just fantasy. Now, you must answer the deeper question. Why are you becoming who you've decided to be? Without purpose, your discipline will die in the desert of distraction. But with purpose, you become immortal. Let's go deeper in the next seamless section. The fire of purpose and the discipline that builds destiny. Purpose is not something you find. It's something you choose. It's not a whisper you wait for, it's a fire you ignite. Most people waste years waiting for a sign, as if greatness is handed out like a lottery ticket. They want to stumble into meaning. But meaning is never stumbled upon. It is forged in struggle, in sweat, in service to something greater than the ego. Ask yourself, what would I die for? Now reverse it. What's so powerful, so important, so soul awakening, that I must live for it with everything I have? That's purpose. It's not always poetic. Sometimes, it's the quiet decision to break your family's generational chains. To become the first. The one who chooses growth over guilt, fire over fear. Sometimes it's building something that outlives you. Not for applause, but because the future deserves better than the excuses of the past. Purpose is what gives your pain meaning. It makes suffering sacred. It turns long nights and lonely days into bricks on the road to immortality. Martin Luther King Jr. said, "If a man hasn't discovered something that he will die for, he isn't fit to live." You don't have to change the world. But you damn well better change your world. You're not just working a job. You're modeling what's possible. You're not just raising a child. You're raising a future leader. You're not just building a business. You're building a cathedral of belief where others gave up. But purpose without discipline is a dream with no backbone. Discipline is the bridge between identity and reality. Without it, your vision collapses. With it, your destiny becomes inevitable. Discipline isn't punishment. It's devotion. It's saying, I will do what is required, not what is convenient. When you are truly disciplined, you no longer need motivation. Because your actions are no longer dictated by your emotions. They're dictated by your decision. Wake up early when you don't feel like it. Show up when no one's watching. Do the reps in the dark. Because who you become in the dark determines who you are when the light comes. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you reinforce your identity. Not with words, but with evidence. And this is the truth. Your subconscious only believes what you prove. Tell yourself you're a leader all day. But if you can't lead your own habits, your subconscious calls your bluff. Discipline makes your belief undeniable. It says, I am not who I was. I am who I've decided to become. And here's the proof. And what fuels discipline? Action. Not plans. Not vision boards. Not good intentions. Relentless, repeated, intentional action. Action is the great separator. Millions dream. Thousands plan. A few act, and those few build legacies. When you act, you become magnetic. Life starts responding. People notice. Doors open. The fog lifts. But here's the brutal truth. You will never feel ready. Because the old version of you, the one who's comfortable, will always scream for safety. Ignore it. Act anyway. Action isn't about waiting for the fear to disappear. It's about walking through the fear, with blood in your mouth, and fire in your chest. Success isn't a moment, it's momentum. And momentum is built with messy, imperfect, unapologetic action. You don't need perfect conditions. You need a perfect decision, followed by imperfect steps. You decided who you are. Now show the world, with action, with discipline, with purpose forged in fire. But even with all that, there's one final ingredient that the modern world overlooks. Gratitude. Let's dive next into the power of gratitude, humility, and the resilience that transforms identity into legacy. Gratitude is not weakness. It is not passivity. It is the highest form of awareness. Because the man who sees everything as a gift cannot be broken. Gratitude is the warrior's breath. It reminds you that even in the chaos, you are not a victim. You are chosen to feel, to grow, to carry weight, to become something more. You cannot hold power in one hand and poison in the other. Gratitude clears the poison. It burns away entitlement. It destroys the illusion that you're owed something, and replaces it with the revelation that you are responsible for everything. You are not owed wealth. You are not owed ease. You are not owed applause. But you are gifted life. And how you wield that gift is your true currency. Abraham Lincoln lost more elections than most politicians ever run in. He was bankrupt, broken, and belittled. But he never cursed the struggle. He used it. He didn't become great in spite of adversity. He became great because of how he responded to it. Gratitude doesn't mean you accept smallness. It means you recognize the miracle of movement, even when the progress is slow. It means you stand inside the fire of transformation and say, thank you, now give me more. Because you were built for this. Not for comfort, not for convenience, but for conquest. But what happens when things don't go your way? When the plan fails? When the world shifts? That's when the next trait must rise from the ashes. Adaptability. Success is not linear. There will be detours, betrayals, losses that hit you like hurricanes. The weak seek shelter. The strong become the storm. You must learn to bend, without breaking. Adjust your methods, without abandoning your mission. A rigid tree shatters in the wind, but the flexible one survives, and still reaches the sun. Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper for lack of imagination. His first studio went bankrupt. His ideas were stolen, yet he kept adapting, learning, reshaping. Because vision is untouchable when it's fueled by a spirit that won't die. The goal is not to control the path. The goal is to command your response to the path. Let go of needing things to go your way. What matters is that you keep going. No matter how the terrain changes. You were not born to stay the same. You were born to evolve. And every setback is secretly an upgrade. If you have the courage to extract the lesson and move forward. And that brings us to the rarest trait of all. The one that makes legends out of ordinary people. Resilience. Resilience is the capacity to absorb the hit, and come back harder. To fall, and rise anyway. To bleed, and still believe. People will count you out. Life will test your loyalty to the identity you've claimed. You will lose battles, but resilience says, this war is still mine to win. Don't pray for the struggle to end. Pray to become strong enough to carry it with grace. Don't ask for the burden to be lifted. Ask for broader shoulders to bear it. Because the moment you choose resilience over retreat, you align with a force deeper than talent. More powerful than knowledge, the force of becoming. You don't bounce back, you build back, wiser, sharper, stronger. The world doesn't need more perfect people. It needs more resilient people. People who rise from ashes with eyes that still see beauty. And hands that still build. And when you've gone through the storms. When you've earned your scars. When the battle has tested your every belief. You'll realize something no book, no coach, no quote can teach you. You are who you said you were. Let's now press into the sacred responsibility of becoming. Through mastery, learning, and the final climb toward your higher self. Becoming is not a moment. It is a process, a holy pursuit, a relentless, daily refinement of self. It's not about adding layers. It's about removing everything that is not in alignment with the identity you've chosen. Like Michelangelo chiseling away marble to reveal David, you must carve away the doubt, the laziness, the distractions, the lies. And that work, that sacred chiseling, requires mastery. Mastery is not about being the best. It's about becoming better than you were yesterday. Over and over and over again. It's the carpenter who runs his fingers along the edge of a table 100 times to feel for the flaw no one else will see. It's the athlete who trains in silence while the crowd praises someone louder. It's the leader who learns from failure, again and again, until his scars become his resume. Mastery is obsession, not with perfection, but with growth. And here's the truth most don't want to hear. You are always practicing something. Every day, you're mastering laziness or discipline, excuses or execution, complaining or creating, comparison or concentration. So the question is not, are you becoming something? The question is, are you becoming what you chose? Or what you've allowed? Because in the silence, when the world isn't watching, your habits cast the vote for who you become. And the only way to build mastery is to become addicted to learning. Lifelong learning isn't a philosophy. It's a strategy. The moment you think you've arrived, you start to rot. The greatest minds, Da Vinci, Jobs, Tesla, Hill. They never stopped asking questions. They devoured knowledge. They surrounded themselves with people smarter than them. They weren't driven by ego. They were driven by curiosity. Becoming demands humility. The humility to admit that you don't know everything. That you're still in process. That no matter how high you've climbed, there's still more mountain. Read every day. Reflect every night. Learn from failure like it's your favorite professor. Do not fear what you don't know. Fear staying the same. Because if you're not growing, you're dying in slow motion. And still, even with belief, mindset, action, purpose, gratitude, adaptability, resilience, mastery, and learning, there is one final threshold. The climb toward the version of you that only your soul has seen. This is where most people stop. Because the mountain gets steep. The oxygen thins. The people around you fade away. Not everyone is meant for the summit. This is the sacred space of isolation. Where your vision becomes your only companion. Where your footsteps echo off the walls of doubt. And your faith becomes louder than your fear. This is where becoming stops being glamorous. And starts being grit. No applause. No map. Just the whisper. Keep climbing. Because when you reach the top, not the top of the world, but the top of yourself, you will not see a crowd. You will not see a trophy. You will see a mirror. And in that mirror, you will meet the version of you who is always waiting. The one you almost gave up on. The one who endured every storm, stayed true in every valley. Believed even when belief was brutal. And when you meet that version, you will not recognize him by the title he holds, but by the light in his eyes. Because that light only comes from the fire you walked through. You will smile, not because it was easy, but because you became who you said you would be. And no one can take that from you. Let's complete this transformation with the final rise. A soul awakening, emotional conclusion that seals your decision forever.